Hello, folks, and welcome to day 14 of my 100-day project. We are officially 2 weeks in, and I am in the watercolor section of my project. And I had an idea today. I wanted to do something kind of abstract, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to play up these granulating watercolors by Schminke. This is the Galaxy set. And shout out to Gigi, a friend of mine who picked these up for me on a recent trip to Germany. So appreciate that. I really love the Schminke granulating watercolors. These are their super granulating ones. And I just love the texture they create. So what I'm doing right now is making some very rudimentary shapes in water. And then my plan was to drop in these colors and let them do their thing. So this is Galaxy Pink, Galaxy Violet, Galaxy Blue, Galaxy Black. And then I use a little bit of the Galaxy Brown in the background, but then I changed my mind about the background, which you'll see here in a minute. But I just wanted to do give the watercolors a chance to do their thing was really my thinking. And I just love seeing what happens when you drop pigment into water. You can do the same with acrylic ink, but acrylic ink doesn't granulate the way that watercolor can. You can get a granulating medium. Winsor & Newton makes a granulating medium, which I've played with a little bit, and it's meant to help pigment settle out, so to turn a watercolor into a granulating watercolor or beef up the granulation of an already granulating watercolor. And you can do it with acrylic ink. You get kind of big specks when you do it, so it's not my favorite look, but I'll always love watercolor for this reason, just the natural granulation. I did up the size of my shapes a little bit. It was hard to see, and I didn't sketch ahead of time because I didn't want any pencil marks and didn't, honestly, I've been trying to keep these paintings to a pretty short amount of time, so I haven't done any sketching, to be honest, ahead of time. So I'm just kind of winging it, but I'm using that Galaxy Brown. And I like the color, but it occurs to me as I'm doing this, number one, I didn't wait long enough for it to dry, so some of the figure is bleeding in the background. Number two, it's a granulating watercolor, and I thought maybe it would be better to use a non-granulating watercolor to really play up the granulation in the figure. So what you're seeing me do right now is I'm mixing up a neutral kind of grayish color, thinking that that's what I would use in the background. And I changed my mind, so I'll keep that neutral mix. One of my favorite ways to mix a neutral is just mix everything on my palette, add some white, or in this case, the Titan Buff, and make a light color. But what I decided was that I wanted to make kind of a neutrally green with some of that phthalo green from my Roman Schmal palette. So what I'm doing is I'm adding just a tiny bit of that green into my figure just to harmonize it. If you use a color in one place, you want to use it in another. So I just add just the tiniest bit just so our eye reads that these things go together. And I'm doing this kind of Rembrandt-y type lighting where on the lighter side of the figure, I'm making the dark ground or the background darker. And on the darker side of the figure, I'm making the background lighter. So I've got that phthalo green, some magenta, which is close to that pinky color, and some of that Titan Buff to neutralize it a little bit. And again, the green and the purples, I think, really play nicely next to each other. And what I want is that halo of light around that figure to really glow. Now, right there, you can see I made a mistake. I had too much water in my brush. And you can see how shiny it is at the top. That's going to create a bloom. And the minute I put the brush down on the page, I was like, oh, I have too much water in my brush. So I'm just going with it. It is what it is. I could come in and correct it with another layer later, but I'm not going to worry about it. You can see the bloom there. And honestly, I kind of like that mark because it brings the eye in from the side into the figure. So sometimes a mistake can be to our advantage. So there's my figure for today, playing up with granulating watercolors against non-granulating watercolors, my abstract figure. I hope you're doing great, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.